Hello, traders. It is Monday, July 21st, 2014. It's 8:02 a.m. Chicago time. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. My personal opinion, market data, and recommendations subject to change without notice. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Quick rundown of the overnight news. Very much I would consider to be market drivers. German June PPI in line came in at 0.0% month on month and negative 0.7% year on year. The rest of it's mostly geopolitical news. Witness reports loud explosions in eastern Ukraine city of Donetsk. The Dutch PM says all political and economic options on Russia are on the table if inadequate access to crash site continues. The U.S., Ukraine, and others say evidence points to Ukraine rebels shooting down the plane with weapons provided by Russia. Ukraine says rebels destroying evidence. Rebels still blame Ukraine forces. U.S. and EU threaten more sanctions. Ukraine's security forces accuses rebels of trying to cover up Russian involvement in destroying evidence. Three Buk missile systems held by rebels were sent to Russia early Friday morning. So there's a cover up there. Also, there was a massive mistreatment of bodies at the crash site by rebels, and they're preventing access to monitors and investigators to the site. So this looks pretty ugly, I think, for Russia. Obama told Israel's PM he's concerned by rising casualties in Gaza. The ground offensive continues there. Lots of people have died so far since the ground offensive and the airstrikes. As far as looking ahead for today, the only thing we had on deck was the Chicago Fed Nat activity, and that came out at 0.12 versus 0.18. I don't see anything else on the calendar for today. The usual 3-month and 6-month bills at 10:30 Central for 26 and 24 billion respectively. No speakers. Very, very quiet day on the calendar today. And then looking at the weekly, since it's Monday, tomorrow we get U.S. PPI at 7:30 Central. U.S. CPI, I'm sorry, at 7:30 Central for June, 0.3%. Existing home sales at 9 and Richmond Fed at 9. No speakers. There's Apple earnings and Microsoft earnings after the market tomorrow. On Wednesday, MBA mortgage applications at 6 a.m. Central, at 9 Central, European Consumer Confidence advance. Minutes of the July meeting for the Bank of England at 3:30 in the morning on Wednesday. And Thursday, we have, during the overnight session, the China HSBC Manufacturing PMI prelim, German Services PMI, Manufacturing PMI, European Manufacturing and Services PMI, UK Retail Sales, U.S. Initial Jobless Claims at 7:30, continuing claims as well, Market U.S. Manufacturing PMI, and then at 9 o'clock on Thursday, New Home Sales, 9:30 EI Natural Gas. I forgot Wednesday we have crude oil inventories. And then on Friday, we have money supply in Europe at 3 a.m. German IFO business climate. That's a high importance number, 3 a.m. Central, and UK GDP. And then at 7:30 we have durable goods, durable X transports, and that's really it for the week. There really isn't much more there. There's auctions here and there, but as you can tell by the calendar, it's a pretty lightweight week this week. Let's look at the markets and what we have done, what we're trying to do. So in looking at Friday, we had a gap up from 54 even gap close of Thursday to 58 and a quarter. tried to push lower. We had an open auction in range, got 4 ticks lower, battled against this LVN, found buyers, and then immediately pushed towards the 66.50 point of control. And then the expectation was to test the other side, which was 70.50. It got to 69.50, so just 4 ticks short before it pulled back to 65.50 and then continued higher to put in a top at 74.25. So the expectation was for it to get back into value, push to 66.50, muddle around in there, get to 70.50, and then eventually push to 73, 73.50, and then 75. Remember the key 75 in this area, key LVN from way back from about 3 weeks ago. And it got to 74.25 on the high. Very trend-like, very trend-like profile. A lot of price discovery. Essentially, the market, the S&P, has taken back everything that it did on Thursday on that unfortunate tragedy with the airliner, Malaysian airliner, the MH17 flight that was shot down over Ukraine. 298 people dead. Suspected dead. And so we sold off on that, the incursion into Gaza by Israel and the other occupied territories, and then the market took all of that back and came right back in line with where balance is. Balance is up in the area of 70-71 with a cutoff point at 75. So if we looked the balance in this area, as I had said on Friday, that the market still, despite the selling that happened on Thursday, which was a lot, given the recent history, I think it's as much range as we haven't had this much range since April 28th, I believe, is what I said. We're still in balance, as I indicated, that we have not really accomplished very much in terms of sellers gaining some territory downwards and buyers losing some territory, and we took all of that back. Again, the key area here is 67.25, 67.50 is the point of control, but this is a multi-pronged balance zone here. You can see 71.50, 67.50, and 59 as the key acceptance areas with some very clear LVNs in between, low volume nodes in between, and that's where we're battling. So I suspect that today will bring more balance. We're in the thick of the recent balance zone, so I expect that today will bring more balance. The expectation is for a choppy trade. We're opening right inside of Friday's range. A lot of work to do above. Some work to do below. There are LVNs above and below. So the expectation today is for what I would call a quote-unquote repair of what we did on Friday, of the trading that has occurred on Friday. Okay, so that's how things are shaping up. Look at the overnight. Very uneventful overnight session. Pretty tight range until the break. We had a very weak low at 66, 65, 50, 66 before it broke just now. We have about 8 points of range, which is pretty decent. Volume overnights fairly heavy, 192,000 traded, despite the fact that it was a quiet overnight session. Some pretty heavy volume there. Given the recent past, we have not, we have not pushed that kind of volume for a while. This last week, actually, we had 350,000 traded on Friday's overnight session, 239,000 on Thursdays, and it drops to 179, and then it drops precipitously beyond there, 196, 147, and so on and so forth. So the overnight session has had more volume and has been more active, and the overnight session had a balanced profile with a key area above at 69.75, almost against that 70-70-50 area, which is our LVN. and it was not able to take that back, and it rolled over and is breaking lower, extending the overnight low down to 63.50. We have an LVN from Friday here at 61.5. Okay. What else? So that's the overnight session. Expectation coming into today, again, is for the market to simply repair what it did on Friday. I expect the range to be pretty tight between 71 and a quarter down to 1960 or so. If we break below, which we don't have a very strong low, if we break below Friday's range, then the expectation is for a retest of 53, and it's not likely to extend lower unless there's news. Now, there's an elevated risk of headlines coming across, more sanctions, more actions by the EU against Russia, which has an impact on energy prices and various other things that Russia provides to the world economy. And so, and the mess in Palestine and Israel is not getting any better. So who knows what will come out of that? But the market's likely to be driven by political news more so than the schedule, what's on the schedule, and where we are. We are in a very clear balance zone here, with the boundaries established at 78 and a quarter and 45.75. So the plan for me today is to just see who's in control. What kind of open do we get? Do we get an open auction out of in range, or is there a driver off the open? If there's a driver off the open, where do they stop? So we can mark our opening swing high and low. And then if it starts to rotate, which side breaks the opening swing? What areas does it test? What areas hold? If we see that Friday's auction levels hold, then we expect that a short to intermediate term player to be in control. So we'll trade, for the next area up or down from where it tested. If the market seems to just be chopping around in the middle of nowhere, then short-term players in control. Then we look for extremes in type of trading, mean reversion type trading. So it all depends on how we open, since we are in range today. Okay, I'll be on Day Trading Radio to update that group, which is open to you, daytradingradio.com, at 10 Central, 11 Eastern. We'll discuss the markets on my weekly appearance there. Other than that, I'll catch you online, and good luck. Take care.